I'm proud. I'm really proud. I don't have anything to do with this personally, so I have no reason to be proud. But as somebody who lives here in the lower mainland of BC and who cheers primarily for the Vancouver Canucks, as most of the people who live here do, it is absolutely inspiring to take a look at the top point scorers in the National Hockey League and see number 1 and number 2, Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard are the number 1 and number 2 point scorers in the National Hockey League. Celebrini has 23 points in 15 games. Bedard has 22 points in 15 games. Say what you want about some of these guys having a higher point per game metric. Okay, Mark Stone has the highest point per game in the NHL right now. Well, that doesn't matter. The guy hasn't played in a few weeks. William Nylander's up there, so is Jack Eichel and Carlson. Well, guess what? Those are the only 4 names that have a higher points per game on this season than Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini. And I just wanted to give our props and beg down on my knees, put my face into the dirt and have my nose pressed up and breathing up against the gravel underneath, with my hands extended forward and a plea directed to the heavens to let these guys inevitably play for the Vancouver Canucks one day. You know, everybody talks about, oh yeah, what if everybody who's from Toronto ended up playing for Toronto? Everybody from Ontario that grew up a Maple Leafs fan, imagine if they all went home. Imagine if Doughty went to Toronto, if Stamkos went to Toronto, if McDavid went to Toronto, what if Matthews went to Arizona? We love doing the fantasy booking. And when it comes to these top-tier superstars, literally number 1 and number 2 in the National Hockey League in points, once upon a time, there was a lot of fantasizing. Oh, I shouldn't use that word. We're talking about literal teenagers here. Once upon a time, there were a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans who would eagerly and excitedly push their pleas into the multiverse that they wanted Macklin Celebrini and or Connor Bedard to inevitably be Vancouver Canucks one day. Now, I also wanted in this video to just talk about how these guys got here. I mean, Connor Bedard had a sophomore slump that was quite noteworthy when you look at the decline in points per game from year 1 to year 2. But this year, the guy is playing on another level. 22 points in 15 games, he's on pace for 121 total points and 44 goals. The types of points that he's going out there and scoring are just unreal. He's stealing pucks from guys in the breakout, coming in on breakaways. He is so dangerous with his passing and his efficiency with the puck on his stick. He finally scored his first goal against Vancouver the other night, and he's on a pretty nasty point streak of 7 games where he's gone out there and scored, what is that, 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 points in 7 games. He's averaging over 2 points a game in the last 2 weeks worth of play. That is absolutely crazy out of Connor Bedard. And when you sit down and you watch the tape, you see what he does, you see the dangles, you see the ambition that he has on the ice, you see Tyler Bertuzzi actually putting the gosh darn puck in the net, you see Andre Burakovsky becoming a top-line forward. This is the reason Connor Bedard is bringing the best out of the players around him. Even Ilya Mikheyev is getting involved there. And this is the thing that we said superstars need to be able to do. If you want to be a top-tier, franchise-defining player, you can't just be good. You gotta elevate the people around you. And I'm not saying Connor Bedard never had that skill. Oh no, he had that skill in junior. It's just starting things out with the Chicago Blackhawks for the first 2 years is kind of difficult to do that when Jason Dickinson and Nick Foligno were going out there and trying to produce, and they just couldn't keep up. Now, Connor Bedard, he's in a spot where he actually has players around him that can keep up, and they're doing extraordinarily well. They're just torching the competition. Chicago is a wagon right now, man. And that's not even the best part about this conversation. He's not even first in the league. Macklin Celebrini is number 1 in the NHL in points at a ripe old age of 19. He's on pace for 126 points. He had 63 points in 70 games last year. Very, very good player. But now he's on pace to totally shattering any illusion of a sophomore slump and just saying, yeah, no, I'm here to stay. I'm one of the best players in this gosh darn league. I'm playing with my buddies and we're scoring a whole bunch of points. I mean, Will Smith is going out there. He's feasting on all these other teams. Eklund's producing, so is Toffoli. Dmitry Orlov is a top pairing defenseman now. The San Jose Sharks are really putting together an exciting profile and guys that are going out there and producing. And Macklin Celebrini is right there at the top. Now, of course, we will always make the Vancouver connection. There was an article on, where was it? Was it Canucks Army? I think it was Canucks Army 2 days ago, talking about the idea of Vancouver getting Connor Bedard. But, of course, realistically, it's not going to happen anytime soon. We do know, though, Bedard, North Vancouver guy, absolutely loved the Canucks growing up. Maybe he still does. You remember before Bedard was drafted, they asked him who his favorite hockey player was, and he said it was Tyler Mott. Because in that 2020 bubble playoff run, 3 years before Connor Bedard was drafted, he was 15 at that time. He was watching Tyler Mott be an absolute dog, digging the puck out of corners, winning battles, scoring clutch shorthanded goals, and propelling the Vancouver Canucks to victory mentally and on the score sheet. Connor Bedard was a true Canucks fan when he said that Tyler Mott was his favorite player. And I think that impression back in the day never left Canucks fans' minds. Plus the fact that Connor Bedard is literally a moderator here on our live streams here on YouTube. Real or not, this is a guy who's a Vancouver brethren, and just the idea of him inevitably becoming a Vancouver Canuck in any capacity is exciting. And Macklin Celebrini, exact same thing with him. Sure, he grew up in the San Jose, Golden State area, but he was born in Vancouver. There was even the commentary that we made back in Celebrini's draft season talking about his preference and how he wanted to go over to the Vancouver Canucks, or he would have been so honored to be a part of the Canucks and whatever. Like, this hometown connection argument just gets so much more sad when you think about, like, what is it these players would have wanted? If young players were able to choose where they wanted to go and just play for their childhood teams, of course, Toronto would be a lot better, but, like, Vancouver would have been so good. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But I'm just thinking, if the Canucks could have somehow, some way, had a bad season somewhere along the road, had a terrible, league worst type of season somewhere along the road. You know, they had a few of those in 2017 and 2018. They drafted Pettersson and Hughes. If they just continued having seasons as badly as those, or they made some better drafting choices, I will say, he could have taken Boldy or Caulfield over Podkolzin, but either way, if the Canucks were just terrible at some point throughout the 2020s, if they just made a decision to rebuild, which it wasn't logical to do that at that time because they were competitive and they were old, if they would have found themselves a way to get Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini or both, just imagine, if you believe in the multiverse, you believe in infinite alternate realities, just imagine how happy we are in those different timelines. And what would you give to be able to see it? Once upon a time, the Vancouver Canucks had three of the top point scorers in the NHL. That was October 2023. Pettersson, Miller, and Hughes all up in there. And then the team lost in the playoffs, and then they fell apart. I'm sorry, this is a sad video. The Vancouver Canucks are playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets later today. I will not be able to make a post-game video about it right away because I do have my own beer league ice hockey game that starts at about 9:30, so I will not be around to watch the end of Vancouver-Columbus, but there still will be some post-game stuff to talk about, I guess. I'll try my best. On the ice and off the ice. But thoughts in the comment section about Bedard and Celebrini, the fact that these guys are 1-2 in the NHL in points, actually 2-1. And what are your thoughts on the idea of them becoming Canucks? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.